history of December 25th. Now, December 25th is not a pagan holiday. Never was a pagan holiday. The pagan holiday was December 21st. Anybody know what that is? The winter solstice. The shortest daylight of the year, the longest night of the year. Okay? And in paganism, it was a time where the sun god died. Okay? So they would celebrate to appease the sun god so that the sun would come back. All right? That was the feast, the Roman feast, Saturnalia. Came out of the Babylonian. It seems like most of these pagan gods were Babylonian in some form, which traces back to Nimrod. It never was December 25th. December 25th, according to history, just to give a real quick little thought on it, was a product of a guy named Constantine, Flavius Constantine. Everybody ever heard of him? Constantine the First. And around the early 312, 317, somewhere in there, he was going to war against what we know today as the Germans. Seems like the whole world has fought the Germans at one time or another. And so he went to war, and he was severely outnumbered. He had a 2,200-man legion. The Germans had 7,000. And it looked like it was imminent defeat. And that night, he stayed up praying to his gods. And he looked up early in the morning, and in the clouds, he saw a Christian symbol, the chi and the rho, which made the early church. Chi is the X, okay? And rho is like a P. So you can go back in ancient symbolism, you'll find the chi and the rho put together. It was the early symbol for the cross. Chi is the first letter of the word Christ in Greek. In the clouds, he saw this. And he heard a voice speak to him and say, "Put this symbol on the shields of your soldiers, and you will surely win the battle." And so he did. And he went out and won a great battle. Well, he then, knowing what that symbol was, then was fully convinced that the Christian God had delivered them. That began a process of him becoming a Christian. He was baptized before he died. Several years later, he was again with the soldiers, right before he became Caesar, and he knew he was getting ready to become Caesar. So they were celebrating the Feast of Saturnalia, and they were preparing for that. He thought, we ought to do some kind of feast or party to celebrate the Christian God, Jesus. So he said, let's do that one, Saturnalia, but then let's do another one, and let's celebrate the Son of God, the Christian God. And let's have a time together where we give thanks to him and so forth and so on. So he chose the 25th. Why the 25th? Without modern scientific instruments, the 25th of December is the first day where there's any appreciable increase of sun. It's the first day where you can measure the sun is getting longer again. So it was the birth of the Son. When he said, let's celebrate the birth of God's Son. So in 300, and I've got it written down here somewhere, 325 AD, Constantine created December 25th and the celebration of Christ's birth.